Hello and welcome to my channel. I'm Deepak Jacob Thomas and you're watching my channel djthomasedu-world.net. Today's session will be explaining on FIFO. This is a common terminology used in starting from a retail segment to a production or any firm. What exactly a FIFO is with FIFO. As we know, FIFO stands for first in, first out. The main motto of FIFO is to sell older products first. Here we will be using an Excel function, that means a SUMIF advanced use of SUMIF functions to create a FIFO identifier in Excel. Let me name it as inventory valuation, the FIFO identifier. Moving on to Excel template, I will be creating and explaining how the different methods of SUMIF can be used to get a FIFO identifier. I will not go directly to the template designing. First, let me give a basic of a SUMIF and its advantage. Then we will go with the use of the different forms of SUMIF to create a FIFO identifier. With the new Excel SUMIF function, we will just give a brief outline on how it works so that the FIFO identifier chart will be understood very well. Of a classic example, if a SUMIF using number as a criteria, our main objective is to find the number of trips made less than 5. Here are the transporter 1, 2 and so on till transporter 7 and the number of trips made. For that, I will enter equals SUMIF, choose the range, this will be my range. Here the criteria will be, since it is based on numbers and we need to find the number of trips less than 5, we will give a criteria as open quotes less than 5, close the quotes and enter. It will give a sum category of 10. That means of this data sheet, the number of trips made less than 5 counts 10. We will check whether it comes to 10. See, you can see 3, 2, 1 and 4. The count is 10. This is how we can use a SUMIF function to find for a category of lesser number of trips done using the numbers as its criteria. Moving on to the next SUMIF function with number of criteria, it is similar to the previously explained. Here also we will have a number as the criteria, but the main difference is that we will be using an AND operations. I will choose this active cell D3 as my reference to toggle any value inputted so that I can get the total sum quantity. Here there is a group of data of students with the respective ranks from different sections. I will input the SUMIF value equals SUMIF value. This is my range, comma, and the criteria I will give as less than or equal to and give the quotes followed by an AND operation and select the active cells which is highlighted in yellow G3 and give an enter. Now I have to define it. I will just enter say value of 5 and give an enter and we can see the sum total less than or equal to 5 of section of students with ranks is totaling to 22. Let's see it's correct or not. Now you can see that the sum total has come to 22. The main advantage is that we don't need to give a number defined in the formula. We can give out of the formula so that the toggling becomes much easier. If I change to 2, the values of sum total change to 3. If I change to 6, the values change to 28, and so on. This is how a SUMIF using the number as criteria can be used to find a sum total of a given range of value with data inputted out of the box, which is linked to the formula using an AND operations for a number as a criteria. Moving on to the new example of SUMIF using number as its criteria. From the previously explained two examples, this is an advanced version. Why? Because we'll be finding the total number of quantity and also the total lots with the 120 quantity and also the total lots less than 120 quantity. We'll be using a number category as well as also a text string. That is, yes, a number category as well as a text string in SUMIF to find the cumulative total number of units. We have a few units here, the data sheets, storage units with different names and correspondingly the quantity per pallet available. For this active cells or the column C, I will input for computation purpose 1 and make sure all it is values are 1. In this column D, I will enter a if functions equals if active cell B3 is not equal to 120, comma the value should be non-lot, else you should define a false and enter. Let me propagate the formula down. What happens is that of this values in column B, whatever lots is less than or equal to less than 120 or not equal to 120 will be displayed as non-lots, and which is equal to 120 will be displayed as null. This is also for computation purpose for finding the total number of lots. It will be explained further. Further, I'll find for this category of parts what is the total quantity available per pallet equals SUMIF. What is the range? The range will be from A3 to A18, comma the criteria will be the active cell G3, comma and the sum range, that is the values in the column B, and enter. Now what happens is that we get a total value of part 1A and correspondingly the total stocks or the total count of part 1A which is cumulated and given. This is how we can use a SUMIF to extract the values. Just drag the formula down. We can get all corresponding values of different parts in this data sheet. Moving on to next, the total lots with 120 quantity. Here I have given for competition a category of 1. Now this will come in handy. Equals SUMIF the range. What is the range? The range is, see, this is my range from B3 to B18, comma, what is my criteria? The criteria is things with 120 should be displayed, comma, what is the sum range? Sum range will be those values in column C which I have entered as 1 and given enter. Now the formula will auto calculate the values in column B with 120 counts to 13. Similarly, next we have another objective to find lots less than 120. What we do, we will use the support of the values where we put an if condition and got a text string of non-lot quantity equals SUMIF. It asks the range. What is the range? The range will be the values from D3 to D18, where we put if function and took what you tell the text category. Now we'll extract the text by inputting a star, and we need only the last two digits of the non-lot, say 0 and T, close the bracket, comma. Now the sum range, this is my sum range, and enter. Now it displays the count as 3. That means of this storage unit, quantity with non-lot is 3. After getting this value, we can just hide our data sheet so that unwanted values cannot be displayed. Now with this category, we have extracted total count, the total lots with 120 categories, and the total lots count with less than 120 categories. This is an advanced version of a SUMIF. Hi, coming to the final part, that is our FIFO identifier. That was our main topic. So the previous examples of SUMIF, advanced version of SUMIF, I just brought it to an interesting stage of stock management type. Then now the FIFO identifier. Here we have a chart made. I will explain the step by step how to make a FIFO identifier. This can be used in any industries. Just the concept is, as I told in the beginning, sell the item which has come first, so that our profitability is a matter of concern. Now, after creating this chart, only our job is to enter A, B, C, D column data value. Based on this data value, it will automatically calculate and give you a FIFO identifier, and it will fill all these columns. So could be a little bit lengthy on this video, but it will be more helpful to you. Moving on, first I have a list of item codes, a material inflow date, the total quantity on the particular day the metal has been inverted. Now I will give a commit date. Commit date is nothing but what date we need to keep our inventory to the maximum possible quantity. That will be so in a column I will put a date item rundown. Supposing today is 4/6/2020, the commit date will be equals C2, that means the metal inflow date, plus 100 and given enter. So why I have put a commit is that exceeding this commit date, the data should identify the quantity to be prioritized first. Secondly, a SUMIF criteria. I'll just since these are unique codes with different variant, I'll just give a SUMIF so that I can extract the total sum of quantity from this column D equals SUMIF. This will be my category, that is my range. The criteria also will be the same, and the sum range will be, just move this to the side, the quantity which is inverted, and give an enter. Now we have a sum calculated for the individual parts. Now FIFO priority. As I told, the 100 days is our target days. So I'll just input a formula equals if, open quotes, where I have put a rundown date, say like today's date, this date, that is P5, cell number P5 minus a commit date, or the material inflow date C2 greater than or equal to 100, comma, value if it is true. It should give me item first, item first, else it should give me item last. Close the bracket. Before I press enter, I will log this by function FO, or the FO key in the computer, so that the reference cell which I have taken for today's date remain constant. It does not change, and I give enter. Let me drag the category down. Here, based on the conditions, you can see there are few category of item first and item last. Now moving on to this identified FIFO item list, I will also enter a formula equals if G2, the where we have extracted, equals item first, comma. Now I will put a condition of concatenate. This is my item code. Second text, I'll put a dash. Third, I will enter item first. Now let me complete the conditions of if, comma, value if it is false. I'll give factor of null. Now I will close the bracket. What happens is that whatever the thing with item first with the unit code will be extracted, and rest will be an empty factor. Let me propagate the formula down. You can see which is category of first will only be displayed and the category of last will not be displayed. Next, we have found the category of items. We want to find the category of quantity of items. Here also I'll just add a formula equals if this item, that is H2, remains empty, the condition should be null. Else, what is the value to be true is, I'll put a SUMIF in between, SUMIF, this will be my criteria range, comma, my criteria will also be this, that is column of H, and for the sum range I will choose the inverted quantity, that is which is in column D. Close the bracket, comma, now I will close the condition of false. Here also I need, if it is false, values to be empty. Close the bracket and give an enter. Now what happens is that it has identified for this category from this quantity referring this inverted date the identified FIFO quantity. This completes a part of our FIFO identifier chart. Next, here I have a small category wherein we can easily accumulate all the identified items. Since we have a lot of chart items code here in column B, I will extract the unique part, the duplicate will be left out and only the unique parts will be kept here, and these unique parts will be for a detergent section, a cosmetics section, a snack section, cereal section, or a milk product section, edible oil, or a chocolate section. So if it is detergent section, with this code we will find how many items need to be prioritized. Likewise for other items. Now here also I will put a SUMIF criteria. VLOOKUP. Here our objective is to take the value which has been summed with the VLOOKUP, comma, what will be my lookup value? This will be my lookup value. I'll log this so that it does not move further. That is called absolute cell reference locking. Just press F4, we'll get a lock on this, comma. Now it asks the table rate. The table will be smooth this up from this B2 to F row, where we have inputted a SUMIF criteria. Just drag it down all column. Now from B to F we have selected 5 columns, so the column index number will be 5, comma, an exact match, so we will put 0, close the bracket. Now we don't want any error to be populated, so what I will do is that before we look up I'll put an if error condition. if error, a comma, and a 0. Now I'll put an enter. What happens is that if I put, while putting an if error, if any error value comes like which is not in the list, it will come as NA. It will be displayed as 0 instead of NA. If NA comes like error something populates, we cannot do much calculation further. So we have done a VLOOKUP for the SUMIF criteria. Next, the item code to be extracted first. So what we'll do that before item codes to be extracted first, we will put a concatenate equals here in the functions box. Just click on concatenate. We'll get a concatenate window popped up. Now, item which to concatenate. This is the this is column K2. Select it. Next, go to the text box 2. Put a dash. Next, moving to the next another text box 2. Please enter item first and enter. Make sure this item first resembles the FIFO priority list wherein I given item first and item last so that we can get an exact match on it. Next, going on to the item first quantity to be priced. We got the item code to be extracted. Our main concern is only for this code with item first. Rest is not our concern. To the next item is the item first quantity in column N. We will put a VLOOKUP again equals VLOOKUP. This will be my lookup value. Just log this with function F4 or F4 key. Now my table will be the column H and I where I had given the FIFO identified list and identified FIFO quantity. Just select the table. Since I have selected 2, give 2, comma, 0 for an exact match. Close the bracket. Put a if error before VLOOKUP, comma 0 and enter. Let me drag the formula down. I need to log this also. Let me drag the formula down. Here, what happens is that based on the values of column H and the quantity, we get the item quantity to be prioritized first. That means whatever items is extracted based on the date of FIFO priority, we have done a SUMIF for this column. Now we have just done a VLOOKUP for this column H and I and given in column N only the quantity which needs to be prioritized. Now we'll give a quantity which we need not prioritize. Here there is no much formula involved. Only thing is that equals the value of cell L2 minus N2. That means this which we done we look up here and found the SUMIF criteria for detergent section with unique codes, and we are minusing the quantity of things to be prioritized, and just will drop the formula down. Now we have a condition that For this date with a target date of 100 days, considering the item code, we need say 771 approximate quantities to be prioritized, and rest does not exceed 100 days. This is our second last priority. Coming to the conclusion part, we came to know how to extract an item code and prioritize how many items to be prioritized first based on present date and the target date of say 100 days, which you can change to whatever desired quantity. Once you create this chart, only the column A, B, C, and D needs to be inputted. A rest will be auto calculated, and we can get this category of output where we can focus on what items to be prioritized first and the items to be prioritized last. This completes the session of a FIFO identifier list. Hope you like this session of FIFO identifier. If you like my videos, kindly subscribe for more videos. Signing off, Deepak Jacob Thomas.